Hey everyone, I'm Joshua Orro of the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. So, for today's episode, I'd like to talk about Ant-Man again. Now, we all know what Scott Lang has been going through ever since he took up the mantle in 2015. He tried to make up for his criminal reputation. He helped foil Hank Pym's former protege Darren Cross, aka Yellow Jacket. He rekindled his relationship with his daughter Cassie and his ex-wife Maggie, along with joining Captain America's team in Civil War, which landed him under a 2-year house arrest. He even got to help Hank and Hope rescue Janet from the quantum realm, and about 5 years/hours after getting stuck in the quantum realm after Thanos' snap, which disintegrated many victims, including Hope, Hank, and Janet, Scott regrouped with the Avengers and suggested that they use the quantum realm as a means of time travel to the past in order to acquire the Infinity Stones and resurrect the snapped victims. And of course, he got to fight a 2014 version of the Mad Titan and his Chitauri army. By the way, if you may remember, during my blog of Endgame, I mentioned that Scott and Hope would get another movie this year. But is it any good? Well, let's dive into the quantum realm and find out. Released on February 17th, 2023, the movie is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Now, let's get started. In this thrilling new adventure, Scott Lang is living life to the fullest as he tries to juggle between his normal life and his superhero life as the titular Ant-Man. When his now teenage daughter, Cassie, builds a mysterious device in the basement, the device malfunctions and it sends both her, Scott, Hope, and her parents down into the quantum realm. From there, the two families all try their best to survive, while also encountering a lot of the realm's mysterious inhabitants and settings. However, they are also forced to come into blows with a ruthless and tyrannical conqueror who threatens the safety of the multiverse. So, what do I think? Well, to me, this film was actually pretty good and very, very thrilling. And to further explain what I mean, let's move on to Mustang notes. Plans for a third Ant-Man film was confirmed in November 2019, with Peyton Reed returning as director. Jeff Loveness, whom was a writer, producer, and actor on Rick and Morty, was hired as the film's writer by April 2020, with development beginning during the COVID-19 pandemic. The title, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, was announced in December 2020. Filming in Turkey began in early 2021, and additional filming occurred in San Francisco in mid-June. Principal photography began on July 26, 2021 at Pinewood Studios in Buckinghamshire, England, and ended in November. Also, Industrial Light and Magic provided the same stagecraft virtual production technology that director Reed used while directing episodes of the Disney Plus Star Wars series The Mandalorian, which I hear is getting a physical home media release on Blu-ray and 4K this December. Plus, the production designer for the film was Will Hite, whom was a concept artist for 3 Star Wars movies and the James Bond movie No Time to Die. Now, when I saw this movie in theaters back in February with my dad and sister, I thought the story was very futuristic due to the use of PIM technology. And so far, I think this new multiversal saga is equally as complex as the Infinity Saga. Anyway, for now, let's talk about the quantum realm, which I remind you is a microscopic realm, and the only way to enter is to shrink to beyond a subatomic size. And so far, the only ones to have been there were Scott Lang, Janet Van Dyne, Hank Pym, the Avengers, even Thanos. Also, if you may recall, about 5 years ago, during my blog of the previous Ant-Man movie, I did compare the quantum realm to the extinct Disneyland attraction Adventures Through Inner Space, which is, to this day, Star Tours. As for the city of Axia, well, I find this to be the most breathtaking place in the quantum realm, and I find it to be pretty similar to the grid from Tron Legacy, since it was created by the villain. Also to note, during the post-credits scene, it's revealed that this movie is sorta connected to the Loki series, which will be getting a physical home media release this September. Another thing that I liked in this film, like most of the other Marvel movies, is the action and fight scenes, which to me are very well choreographed. And, well, that's all I got for Mustang notes. So, let's move on to the cast. Our hero, Scott Lang, aka Ant-Man, is once again played by Paul Rudd, whom was in Halloween 6, DreamWorks Monsters vs. Aliens, the 2016 Little Prince movie, Ghostbusters Afterlife, which will be getting a sequel next year, and just recently, he got to voice in the new animated Ninja Turtles movie. In this film, after the events of Endgame, Scott has become a well-known celebrity to the public, as well as the author of the autobiography book Look Out for the Little Guy, which tells a different version of how he helped save the universe from Thanos. Also, I think Scott has become very skilled with using his Ant-Man suit and PIM technology to fight evil. Plus, I thought the scene where Scott was inside the multiversal engine core in hopes to shrink it was a pretty weird moment due to so many duplicates appearing. But then it gets better with said duplicates working together. Next we come to Scott's partner and girlfriend, Hope Van Dyne, aka Wasp, played by Evangeline Lilly, whom was in 2 of Peter Jackson's Hobbit films, along with the Lizzie McGuire movie and Freddy vs. Jason. After being revived from the blip, Hope buys back her dad's company and renames it the Pim Van Dyne Foundation, which utilizes the Pim particles in new and innovative ways to advance humanitarian efforts. Plus, during this movie, Hope continues her relationship with Scott alongside furthering her role as a stepmom to Cassie. Also, Hope holds resentment for her mom, who refuses to talk about her time spent in the quantum realm. Next we come to her dad, Dr. Hank Pym, played by Michael Douglas, who voiced Guy M.I. in the Green Eggs and Ham animated series. In this film, Hank is written to be more relaxed than in previous MCU appearances, as he is more focused on reacquainting with his wife Janet than his work. To me, I find Hank to be a little more sure of himself and not looking around every corner. Plus, writer Loveness believed that Pym's fascination with ants was a critical hallmark of the character, and thus decided to expand on it in the movie. Also, throughout the movie, I like that Hank works with Cassie at times, and while in the quantum realm, Hank begins to learn of his wife Janet's time there. Also, my favorite scene involving Hank is when he overpowers Kang using an army of highly evolved ants. Next is Hank's wife, Janet, played by Michelle Pfeiffer, whom was in DreamWorks' The Prince of Egypt, 1999's A Midsummer Night's Dream, Sinbad, Legend of the Seven Seas, 2007's Hairspray, Stardust, 2011's New Year's Eve, Tim Burton's Dark Shadows, and of course, Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. In my eyes, Janet sticks out the most in this movie due to her history in the quantum realm ever since 1987, where she encountered Kang the Conqueror, who tried to manipulate her into helping him restore his time sphere. Thankfully, Janet discovered Kang's true nature and broke the core in order to trap him inside the quantum realm permanently, knowing that she was sacrificing her only chance to escape. Also, while in the quantum realm, I like that she guides her family in order to avoid being detected by Kang. Next is Scott's daughter, Cassie, played by Katherine Newton, whom was in Lady Bird and Pokemon Detective Pikachu. Now, in my eyes, Cassie has become another one of my favorite characters in the MCU, and I just can't believe that she's the exact same age as my goddaughter Elizabeth. Also, not only has she acquired a suit similar to her dad's, but she's scientifically inclined and she gains an interest in Pym's old notes and learning more about the science and technology from the quantum realm. During this movie, Cassie has invented a quantum satellite which resulted in her father and the Van Dyne family accidentally getting shrunk and trapped in Axia. Oops. Wishing to aid the freedom fighters in spite of her dad's denies, she dons the stature suit to battle against Kang's empire. Later, after escaping from Kang, Cassie makes a speech across Axia to motivate the oppressed citizens to revolt against Kang and his army before facing off M.O.D.O.K and returning home with her family. Now let's move on to the new characters, starting with Jentorra, played by Katie O'Brien, whom will be in Twisters next year. Jentorra is the leader of the freedom fighters rebelling against Kang's oppression of the communities in the quantum realm. Fun fact, O'Brien auditioned for the role despite previously working with Reed on the Star Wars series The Mandalorian, and originally she believed that she was auditioning for The Marvels, which will be in theaters this November. Despite the character appearing in the comics, O'Brien was encouraged to create the character as she chose. Also to note, O'Brien previously appeared as Kimball in the Marvel television series Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Next on our list is Lord Krylar, played by comedian Bill Murray. Krylar is the governor of Axia, as well as an old love interest and ally of Janet Van Dyne. Unfortunately, when Janet tried to reach out to Krylar for assistance while she and her family were trapped in the quantum realm, he instead sold them out to Kang. In the chaos of Janet, Hank, and Hope's escape, Hank enlarged a creature that promptly attacked Krylar, attempting to eat him. Another character to talk about is Dr. Darren Cross, aka M.O.D.O.K, played by Corey Stoll, whom was in The Number 23 and Steven Spielberg's West Side Story. After his Yellow Jacket suit was destroyed in 2015, Cross was found in the quantum realm by Kang the Conqueror, who provided him with a mechanical armor and dubbed him the mechanized organism designed only for killing, or M.O.D.O.K for short. Over the past decade, Cross served as Kang's sentient weapon and enforcer. Eventually, when Ant-Man, his daughter, and the Pym family were stranded in the quantum realm, M.O.D.O.K was tasked to capture them. As a revolution broke out across Axia, M.O.D.O.K attempted to annihilate Cassie one last time before she convinced him to change sides. Fun fact, writer Loveness described the character as a cross between Kevin Kline's Otto West from A Fish Called Wanda and Frank Grimes from the Simpsons episode Homer's Enemy. Plus, Loveness felt M.O.D.O.K to be his favorite character in the film because they put little extra on him, and he said that M.O.D.O.K's ego would be crumbled throughout the film whenever he is challenged, but like Otto West, easily kills as a real loose cannon. As for my thoughts on the character, well, personality-wise, He's pretty much the same ruthless guy he was from the first Ant-Man movie. However, I can't quite put my finger on it, but I feel like his design makes me think of Mr. Electric from The Adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl, Krang from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series, and Instigator from Teen Titans. Still, on the other hand, I liked the part where Cross joined in the uprising against Kang's empire and reconciled with his old enemies before passing away. Last but not least, we come to the film's main antagonist, Kang the Conqueror, played by Jonathan Majors. Now, this guy was a scientist from the 31st century named Nathaniel Richards, who discovered the multiverse's existence and joined the Council of Kangs in ruling over the foreseeable realities. Deeming the Council's actions to be destroying the multiverse, Richard sparked the multiversal war, seeking to conquer as many worlds as possible as Kang the Conqueror. However, the Council decided to banish him to the quantum realm, where he allied with Janet Van Dyne to rebuild his time sphere until he was betrayed after Janet discovered his true nature. Kang was once again trapped in the quantum realm, using that time to conquer part of it and build an empire in Axia. Years later, after taking Darren Cross under his wing, Kang had ordered the capture of Ant-Man and Cassie, holding the latter prisoner unless Ant-Man would succeed in claiming the multiversal engine core to escape the realm with his new empire and enact a new dynasty. However, Kang's attempts were thwarted by a revolution by the freedom fighters. In his last opportunity to escape, he had a brutal duel against Ant-Man, which resulted in Kang being shrunken and decimated by his own engine core. And now on to my final words. Overall, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is a pretty good addition to the MCU. It has great visuals for the quantum realm, great cinematography provided by William Pope, the musical score by Christoph Beck is excellent, plus the main characters are fantastic, especially Cassie and Janet. Also, I like that Darren Cross goes from a villain's henchman to a redeemed hero. The villain, Kang the Conqueror, is ruthless, ambitious, and power-hungry, and while the screenplay may have a few hiccups, it surprised me with interesting plot points and amazing action and fight sequences. So, with all that said, I give this movie a 93% out of 100. Not quite the best MCU film of the year, but still pretty close. Well, that's all for now. Be sure to join me for my next blog, where we blast off into outer space and reunite with the Guardians of the Galaxy. Mustang power.
That nag sure is gutsy, isn't he? He's been branded as a public enemy, yet he still thinks he can defeat me? His reputation ruined, yet he continues his blog show? Well, 3 superhero films aren't gonna be enough to stop me or my virus yet. Just you wait, Mustang Prince.